dear friends and associates, I don't use the word comrades anymore. It doesn't suit. That has a deeper meaning, therefore it's not applicable. Second thing is, our friend here, Ranjit, was talking about Nulambu. Now, I would like to start with an anecdote about this separation and Nulambu. Because I was in, as soon as LTT was made defunct, we decided that you should not let the people down, we should go there directly. So me, Basanthi and Balamurali, we went immediately, and we decided to set up camps in Manipuram, which was what they call the intelligence headquarters at the time of the LTT, which means where they had the torture chambers, which I went and took pictures of it. Now, this is beside the points, I don't want to sidetrack. The point is, we were discussing in a house about Muslim issues, which is a very prominent problem in the Eastern Province. And but it didn't come like that. What we were talking about is actually called mosquitoes. So I suggested to those people around us, we said, listen, we should be able to get rid of these bloody mosquitoes with no trouble. We are scientists, we have a government, we should be able to spray the bloody thing out. He said to me, no, you come from England, you tell all these fantastic ideas, do you know what will happen, he said. This Nulambu is our Nulambu. This is our mosquitoes. This is Hindu mosquitoes. Now it's true actually, I'm not joking. He said, do you know, if you kill all these mosquitoes, do you know where they will come from? It will come from the other side of the boundary road where the Muslim lives. Now, Muslim eats all kind of meats, he said. Right? So they will carry bad blood. Now they come and bite us, shit in no time, we will have the same Muslim blood, he said. Now, this is a fantastic way of looking at mosquitoes. So, unfortunately, my friend, yes, mosquitoes are also separated. Now, now coming to our problem, the serious issues. So we ask the question of leaders and leadership. Now, leaders, we expect to disappear. Leadership, we expect to be created. It is our job. Now the question is, we don't want to become a leaders. Leaders are different. They just proceed with some ideas with the leadership created. The leadership gives them the ideas, the notions of where we are going, the pathways, and actual strategies and tactics. That's what the leadership is about. Leaders are there to ensure the coordination and carrying out jobs. That is the job of them. Now, for example, I was just telling some people were saying a lot of things. Pravaran, yes, we don't like him personally, otherwise I would have joined the LTT. But he was a leader. He made decisions. He didn't pass it on to anybody else. He said, look, I'm deciding and you will die. Now Balakumar was telling me how he went to ask Pravaran's own cousin sister's son to be got out from the death. And he said, no, he may be my relative, but he's been sentenced and he's going. Right? And Balakumar said to me, I actually begged this fella. The Iranian, he said, would not even listen. That's what he said. Now, and another, so I can quote a lot of things like this. So, but he was a leader. The leadership was a bankroll because he didn't allow leadership. And people were quoting here about death he caused to the other groups. But the first person he killed is Saravana, which was a member of Europe. Right? Still the woman is running around somewhere in Manipa and Chulipuram. Right? Looking for it. Now, I'm also a little bit disappointed. Introspective look of killing a brother, killing or that killing, this killing we are saying. But the first person we killed, Turiyappa and Tyagaraja. And when I asked this question, why are you killing them? They were called Drohis. The same word, unfortunately, probably he didn't mean it that way. You are also using the Droha. That hopefully it meant betrayal rather than traitor. Traitor has a different meaning altogether than betrayal. Betrayal means it's a self-created problem. In other words, you promise something, you don't do it. Traitor means you are accusing somebody else as somebody alien to you or your clan or your membership you have built up, which you cannot allow. So we do not have traitors. That's the first thing. So where is the leadership? What is the leader? These are the questions we are posing ourselves. Now, unfortunately, on a personal note, I recently had a small problem of having a cancer. Right? Now, I am actually thinking, whenever I'm going to these Ninavudinams, whether I'm going to the hospitals and sitting next to the patients who are like me thinking, when am I going next? Now, it looks like these meetings are actually cast from the memory of our past than the future. We are not thinking about our people, even us here. We cannot think of our people because we are stuck with our leaders, as he said, or the innate ability we have to be leadership. We don't prepare ourselves as leadership or for the membership of leadership. For that, you need ideas. Ideas are the creators of leadership. Without ideas, if you are copying somebody else, we can't do it. JVP, for all his reasons, had 2 uprisings, but failed both. Right? So, whatever the LTT is similar to JVP, is the other side of the coin, because they both come from the rural areas. As he said, farmers' sons. And LTT has an additional burden of carrying a fishing caste as his front. It is also a caste-based thing. So we have to understand our society is deeply divided by the fundamentally fascistic notion of caste, more than anything else. More than anything else, that is the most detrimental thing which holds us like an iron rod on our feet. That is what is firmly fixing us to the ground. So it is very important we address those issues in our broader thinking. It doesn't mean immediately you go and say, oh, my daughter is going to marry somebody who is a lower or upper caste. I'm not saying that. We are realists. So it is a question of leadership there. What is reality? The reason American election debates, some of you will watch it, there were 2 camps. One is Bernie Sanders camp kind of thing, and the others who are called so-called realists. And the realists are saying, oh, you can't have welfare society in the United States because people won't vote us. Fortunately, one of the other side was able to ask, if you are contesting the power of the presidency of the first world, the most dominant power according to you, if you can't say to your people, why do you want to bloody win? Why are you here? What is the point of you being a leader when you can't tell the people this is what I want? What are you doing? Similarly, we have to ask ourselves here, are we brave enough to see what we say and what we mean to say, rather than what we are saying in order to say what the others might try to understand, misinterpret, and somehow put us in a position where we can't come out? We don't care. The question is, can we come out of it with our verve and our dignity intact so that we have some pathway designed for them to do so? So where are we going now? So I'm going to go outside the box a little bit. The question is, so far, the economic theories, whatever the economists have done, my father is one, okay, have brought us to the world we are in now. We are in the border of extinction and we have already reached the edge of boredom. People are bored. People are bored of existing alone. They don't live, they exist. In the first world, we have a 2-world system. Where we have, in Liverpool, you have genocide of people, white people. They can't get a job, they are 4 generations unemployed. And we are standing here and talking about that and this and Tamils and all that kind of stuff. Why Tamils are such a privileged people that we should talk about Tamils all the time? Why is that Tamils are so privileged that we have to talk about them? Why the other human being is not so important that we value them so badly or we put ourselves first? Where did they come from? Where did these ideas come from? These are notions which are fed into us not just by the climate we were brought up, all the theories of origins and all that kind of nonsense we have been fed, but more than that, economical conditions that shapes us, push us into a situation where we start to develop, and just like the dogs are now exactly the same as the people who are there, they can't actually walk, you have to carry the bloody things. Right? So this is what is happening to all of us. They are being modified genetically. We are going through that process. So how do you break the cycle? That's the question. Now, Hariharan I know very well from not personally him, his brother. Right? Now, him and me and there's a AK there, his brother, somebody relative there, Sridharan, he's died. We started an organization long before, just similar time of Manavar Peravar. We even hired a bloody Nalcha video and we started sort of arms sale and we started to train Chilambadi. Right? Fortunately for me, somebody else entered into the scene, I buggered off. So I survived. That is what. That organization we call it TRA, which probably you took over later. Tamil Republican Army. Right? So that is a scenario we had. Mama Isran, we don't have to say, I don't want to call all the relatives. He's a very, very close relative of mine. So we don't have to go into that. And when I was hanging Communist Party things all over the street, he comes behind on a bicycle with a cockade and he was cutting all the red flags off and he said, listen, go back to your home and come into your work, grandpa. You bugger off, you are too underage to talk about politics. This is Mama Isran. Right? And he was also hiding, because you probably know he was a surveyor, he was already hoarding maps, all in our house. My granddad doesn't understand that thing. All he was saying, this guy is dangerous. He's going to bring everything here. And he started hoarding bloody guns. They're all stupid guns, like one barrel shotgun. But this is what happened, and this is our village. By the way, he's not from Kaduna, he's Vartala. Now, his sisters married Ayatare and brother, they are from Kaduna. Nothing to do with me. Now, so the issues are, it's not about relatives and relations. We're not coming in friends. I know their family very well, my mom and myself friends and so on. Blah, blah, blah. But what is the idea? Where are we going? The going is, we have to define, first of all, ourselves. Tamils like to feel glory in their past. You ask them, first thing they will say, if you ask the Tamil, Eros, for example, said, listen, we have deep division among ourselves. Caste, region, religious, all kind of differences we have. How do you mount a struggle in the name of minorities when you have so many differences? And they suggested, Pradna, in his wisdom, he was brilliant and still true. He said, no, we cannot have Tamil Thesium. We can only have a nation which has encompassed all these people in idea. Now, what does it mean? Obviously, he was forced to give up, he was forced. And when we were discussing all this, already they are drawing maps, copying the Tamilam people and drawing maps of Vivalam, which is slightly different. You got Badula and Pottuvil into it and left the Puttalam out. So, reviewing map, as because you have to satisfy the locals. Now, this is what the realists make you do, deviate from the ideal path you are choosing. Now, I personally, we as a discussion group, ASETIC, we discussed Ratna's Memorial Compress, which was shared by Professor Esa, and that was the first meeting anybody organized in London, including JVP here, ex-Bopake, okay, and also Indian intelligence person, we could put everybody together on the plane. Muslims, Tamil Chinnathan, Professor Chinnathambi, everybody came. Now that was the first meeting, because before that Tigers banned everything. You can't do anything here. Right? We were the first to break that. We did that. And we even invited Tigers to come in. Now, so they came in, fine. In that we extended the idea of Islam as a nation without borders. Now, nation without borders, why do we need it? JVP is here, he is calling us to join them. Why do we need identity? Would the JVP, first of all, say we are not Sri Lankan? They won't. They will say we are Sri Lankan. They will have to wrap themselves in the land flag. Otherwise, maybe as realists. Because they are fearing of people over there who will treat them as traitors. Or maybe they love it. I don't know. But they need identity though. This identity they can't simply disavow. So, we also need identities. But the question is, are we choosing the right identity? Now, we all love to connect ourselves to Hindu civilization for some reason, with evidence or not evidence, we don't know. But there are traits which are similar. Now, Tamil people, fortunately or unfortunately, are not Dravidians, by the way. Dravidian is a word coined by the British colonialists and some experts, so-called experts, just like the Hindu is. Hindu, a word which is supposed to include even the atheists. in India. Because for them, everything in India was Hindu. That's how they defined it. Now, we are facing the 10th tyranny of that word, let loose on everybody in India. You see that, same as Buddhism is. Now we have Buddhism, which is a man says, oh look, I found the truth, there's no God. Now they made him a God and made everybody else oppress somebody else. Right? So we can't talk about these things. But for Tamils, there is a very small history difference. Now Tamils, if it is a very loose connection like bald head and a knee, there is a connection. The Tamil people didn't have kings and queens building palaces. They built temples. And they holu inside the temple which face the other side, the crossway, while the temple's prasanam was there. Now, Tamils also built a lot of water bathing places and so on, water things. Not tanks like in Sinhala areas, which is a different trait. Now, Tamils also have a habit of not having their own leaders. The Cholas are not Tamils. Actually, they are more Sinhalese than Tamils. They come from Orissa. All the people who live in, even actually in particular, most of the people actually come from Orissa. Right? They're not Tamils. Now, most of the kings, fortunately for us, because I can claim these set of things now, are not Tamils. Therefore, I can excuse myself and say, oh, we don't belong to that bastard. Now, so in other words, what I'm saying is, the claim of identity of Tamil is not based on aggression. It's based on stress. Stress by the others on us. That is the identity. Sri Lankan struggle is an identity born out of that. We didn't choose to be a Tamil until the Sinhala government decided you shall be Tamils. Because we are going to do bad things to you because you are Tamils. So therefore we are putting the stamp first. So actually identity is given to us by stress, not by choice. This identity, we cannot give it up. Because somebody gave it to us, they have to take it away. They have to give the relevance from that. They have to get rid of the relief from that. It is impossible for a person in the prison to come out saying, I'm free, until the jailer opened the bloody door. It's impossible. So how are we to free our identity when we can't do it? That's the first thing for our comrades to think about. So giving a same solution, in the same bottle, all the time as a panacea for everything, doesn't work. 70 years of history in Soviet places and everywhere else have shown us it is not necessarily true to quote everything in Marxism, even though I believe in Marxist ideology. But we have to retrospectively think that too. If people didn't think about Newton in this respect, Einstein would not have done anything. He would have been sitting in the bloody place in Switzerland writing labels for the patent office. Nobody would have bought any idea of relativity. Impossible. So we need to have this conversation much more deeply. So where are we coming? We are suggesting something else. We are in a state where Sri Lanka is what they call hub. For me, it's a unit of production. And the line of assembly of production. What they produce, nothing, because they don't have any resources. If somebody else brings something in there, some clothes, and some company, they will stitch it, and you can organize a union and fight about their rights. If they don't bring the clothes, there is nothing. If you don't have remittance from there, actually it has taken over the actual income for Sri Lankan economy more than the coffee beans or tea. Remittance is the key. So they have to slave themselves in Middle East in order to get that bloody thing. So we are in a situation where we are actually a hub already. We've been hubbing all the time anyway. So all these hubs means you are slaves. It is not because of the war India came in. It is not because of the war that all these intelligence agencies come in. It's not because of the Muslims. Even the poxy country like United Arab Emirates is coming with the intelligence service to advise Sri Lanka. I don't understand how UAE could advise Sri Lanka, but they are doing it. So if it is that happening, you have to ask yourself, where are we now as Sri Lankans? Or you call yourself Sri Lankans? Are we really Sri Lankans? Or are we part of the, as I said, a unit of production? in the big line of production, conveyor belt of the international market. Right? In that scenario, how do we deal with this? We are going back to Indus again. By relations or otherwise, by false or lies or by pretense or imagination, we want to go there. The idea is, the New Scientist recently published, 2016 actually, an utopia lost. In other words, unlike the Marxist produced utopias, this seems to have existed. A land with no central authority or ruler or a king or a priest king or anything like that. A society by bone, checking the bones and food they eat, where the burial grounds and everything. They did not find any difference between poor and rich food, diet. Burial places are same. The actual structure of the homes are same. There's no difference. Centrally planned, yes, it's somehow coordinated, but no difference between higher and the lower. So they asked this question, is it possible, is it a myth? But so far, 700 years of that history, they've been digging away for 100 years. So far they only uncovered one priest-looking figurine, and another which is depicting some kind of war. It's a society which existed, a war from outside or within itself. How is it possible? If you believe the Marxist ideological theory, whether we go back to John Smith or anybody else, how the economic theory goes, we have a linear understanding of how we progress from feudalism to that and this and that. But if that is true, how did this thing happen long before and similar to utopia? How is this people conceive the idea that we can exist without power or priests, where we have now priests running around as socialists in Sri Lanka, or killing people in Burma, which you call a Myanmar. Now, with all the Muslims chucked out, right? Same priests. So where are they? How did we do that? So how did they come about? We have to introspectively look at all these things in a serious way. So for us, we ask the same question. Where is it? Ur. Ur is a key. Ur means, for us, is a rebirth. Is a new thing. Is always and always renewing itself. Fortunately or unfortunately, most of the villages in Sri Lanka, thanks to Sri Lankan war, and the police, LTT's misadventure, as we call it, gratefully like just a JVP's, okay, in a nice way, okay, all the villages are destroyed. Now, some people don't want to go back to the villages, because as somebody told me, I can't go there, man, because other caste is here. Now, that's very good. These people we don't want. We don't want their money. Tell them, stay here. Let the people who are there, whether he's a Vellalan or Parayan or Palla, create the new world they want. Let them be there. Whether Sinhalese or Muslim, let them be there. But we will call it Ulam as a nation without border, because Tamils still need a security through their identity, which the government can only deliver, or the state authorities, or the power of centralized power can deliver. Not parties, not words, not anything else. Something has to free us from that prison. Because we didn't invent it. We didn't create that situation. So with that, that onus is on this majority society. Because so far it has been done. Yeah. So therefore, Ur is where we start. So what do we mean by Ur? Let's quickly. In a world, we are congested world, we don't have any power over the air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we intake, which is hormonized rubbish. So we want to take control of the Ur. If the air is flowing on the top, rain is falling on you or flowing through, that is yours. Nobody can stop you over there, nobody can stop you over here. The nutrition of the ground is yours and yours alone. Nobody can tell you what to do. In other words, create a movement, whether it is JVP, we are quite happy to join them if they can do that kind of ideas. Make sure the village become the republic, true republic we would like to have in an Asiatic mode of production. Right? So where we will start thinking, yes, maybe here we can reform the ideas, some of the ideas of Marxist thoughts, and make it practical for our own particular use, not somewhere in Europe where you don't have castes and other ills which are endemic to us, our people. So with that, if you want, I have actually copied this for you because I didn't want to be misinterpreted or misrepresented. So I actually made some copies. If you want, you can have a copy of it. But the most important thing is a discussion and discussion. It's between people. If they want to take it a little further, rather than in evidence, where you only memory fades, you start to think about something because your memory is fading. Thank you. Thank you for all your invited.
Thank you.